38.
And we are 17 paces short. They judged it well. But maybe, just maybe, the dignity of poor Todd Cutler the archer can be saved, because there's a medieval hack that might increase the distance of the arrows. Everything I've learned and everything I've known for the last 55 years or whatever it is that I've been shooting a bow seems sort of slightly to have gone out the window, really. Hi, it's Todd at Todd's Workshop. I'm Todd Cutler here, and today we are going to look at a medieval arrow hack. Now the thing is, we don't actually know how far a longbow shot, because we don't know how powerful they were. We can only make guesses, but that's a different film. But the thing is, in the context of this film, it doesn't really matter, because here is the premise. Right, boys, this is where it's at. I am a skilled archer. I'm good with my bow. I'm good at judging range. It's part of my job. The soldiers out there, they're also good at their jobs, and they're good at judging range as well. And the dirty smatchets are 20 paces beyond where I can shoot. They're giving me the hand signals. They're calling me names. Cockwomble, bull's pizzle, fusty lugs, I ask you. And I am vexed because there is naught I can do about it. But maybe, just maybe, the dignity of poor Todd Cutler the archer can be saved, because there's a medieval hack that might increase the distance of the arrows. Medieval archers certainly had what they called flight arrows, but as far as I know, they seem to be used more for competition. But there'd be a lighter wood shaft, a shaped shaft, it'd be barreled, a lighter head, smaller fletchings. You get greater distance out of it. But they're not the sort of arrows that are taken to war. They're not the sort of arrows that are going to save Todd Cutler's dignity on this day while those boys are giving it all of that. So what can Todd Cutler do about it? Now, I've heard it said, I've read it in books, and I've said it myself at reenactment events, that actually, if you want greater distance off an arrow, you can shorten the fletching, you can remove the whipping, and that gives you, cuts down drag, gives you greater distance. Now, the question is, does it? Well, today we're going to find out. So we're going to do a simple experiment, and I'm going to put aside this lovely, beautiful bow, and I'm going to pick up something quite horrible instead. So I put down the beautiful longbow, and I've picked up this horrible, ugly crossbow. But there is a really good reason for it. I've tuned this up to shoot at exactly the same speed as a 130-pound longbow using these medieval true-weight arrows. The test is not going to know the difference between the two, whether it's longbow or the crossbow, but this is totally repeatable. Same speed each time. I have an inclinometer on it, an angle gauge, same angle each time. That repeatability is really going to help us. So we're going to do 3 rounds of shooting. First, with the arrow complete, like this. Then we'll take the whipping off, 3 shots, average distance, and then we will halve the length of the fletchings and do the same again. And then we'll know if we're able to take out the guys who are giving us the hand signals.
26, 29, 31, 33, 35, 38.
So it's our first one, and we are short of our man. But I'm just going to put this other arrow down as a marker. I'm going to pull that one and shoot again, because it's important that we shoot the same one each time, because even slight differences, one arrow to the next, might make all the difference with this.
38, 37, 38.
Right, so this is our third. Just planting that. There is about 2 paces really in difference between them, and we are 17 paces short. They judged it well. Fusty lugs, I ask you, I'm going to have them. This one is the centre of our first group, 17 paces short. Hi, I've just interrupted today's film for another Todd Cutler related interesting fact, and today, English and Italian basil art. Really strangely, very popular in Italy, very popular in England, not so much really in between. I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, this and loads of similar items available on toddcutler.com. Anyway, back to the film. So on the arrow here is some silk binding. It's obviously fairly high status. It could well be linen or hemp and a little bit coarser. So actually there are other threads that might make more of a difference. So now it's time to start stripping down the binding. So while I'm doing this, 38 degrees. That's what I shot it at. Now there'll be a lot of you out there telling me it should be 45. Actually 45 degrees is the theoretical angle that you want in a vacuum. Basically, we have drag here, and that changes the way it works. Also, you've got wind, in this case crosswind, and that changes how it interacts with the feathers. So between 35 and 40 degrees tends to be the optimum for an arrow, not the 45 that you might think. And there we have it. I've stripped off all of the binding, so all of that horrible draggy stuff has gone. Smoothed it down a little bit. Let's see what happens now.
38.
And there she goes.
34, 35, 38. 35, 37, 38.
Well, this is not at all what I would expect. So you can see a javelin further over there. That was the first round of arrows, the complete one. So let's go to the middle of this group of 3, which are all lesser than that. So it's about here. If you remove the binding from your arrow, which logically reduces drag, which logically makes the arrow go further, the arrow goes less. Right then, all you physicists, all you fluid dynamicists out there, you tell me what's going on. I have one hint of a theory, and that is I do know that on certain plane wings, or parts of plane wings, and certain boats, parts of hulls, they have a textured surface because the turbulence that's created actually reduces the drag. Because, you know, the whipping there, creating textured surface, creating a little bit of turbulence, maybe that's reducing the drag. So let's plant this second one in the middle of this group, which is about here. And I'm going to wonder what the heck is going on. I mean, part of it could be the wind. It's quite gusty, but it's a side wind. It's affecting all of them. It's not a headwind. It's not a tailwind. Who knows? So now's time for some arrow vandalism. Will Sherman, if you're watching, look away now. So what I'm doing now is just stripping away the flight. Trying to get as much of the quick of the feather as possible because I want it to be smooth. That's the whole point. This is a bit hurtful doing this kind of thing, but let's face it, this is not the first time I have destroyed Will Sherman's beautiful arrows. Have a look at this. So cleaned up the shaft. Now, didn't happen last time, but logically I'm feeling that we've reduced the flight area here. That's reduced drag, should go further. The big fletchings that we have are great for stabilising an arrow at short distance. So they're brilliant for sort of flat shooting, you know, 30 metres, 40 metres, something like that. These ones hopefully will be enough to stabilise the arrow over long distance before it's scrubbed off too much speed by wobbling. But we'll see. We're about to find out. And just so we know what I've done to this arrow, there's a before and an after.
36, 37, 38.
I wonder if we got them. Well, we didn't get them, it's off to the side. But I wonder if we could reach them.
36, 38.
Should be more on target, I hope. A bit to the left.
24, 30, 34, 38.
Lovely. Let's go see if we've reached them. So we'll mark off the midpoint and then we'll conclude. About there, right. 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. 9 paces short. So we have managed to reduce our 20 pace lead.
Hey, fasty lags.
What? Right, I'm going to have you, mate. Right, you watch this. I'm going to strip off these fletchings and we're going to get him. I'm going to take the whole lot off. There'll be no friction. It's going to slip like an upturned churn of butter. Right, I'm going to have them. I can't believe I'm doing this, but I have to get those guys because they have vexed me. Common sense tells me this is just going to so not work. I've never actually tried it. So we have a completely bald arrow, just as nature intended. Or not. Anyway, let's shoot it. Possibly one of the more ridiculous things I've done.
38.
Oh, not so bad, actually. That's actually flying true. That is the last thing I expected. Right, we have to go and have a look at that. Little bit of a wobble, but pretty stable, all things considered. Come and have a look at this. Unbelievably, that went 2 paces beyond the target. It was stable enough. It's landed point first. It went in the same line as all the other ones. Why are we bothering with fletchings? I mean, obviously there's lots of reasons, but that is just unbelievable. The medieval archer's hack was not what I expected. It's not trim your feathers down, it's rip them off. 22 paces more by stripping all the feathers off your arrow. So the furthest javelin you can see is very oddly the one without whipping on it. The next one was the complete arrows. This one just behind me was where we halved the fletching. And this one is no fletching at all. That'll teach them. Calling me fusty lugs. Ha ha, got them now. And why I'm so shocked about this is that we all know that the fletchings are there to add stability. And if you have the thing stable, it goes in the direction you want. If you have the thing stable, it spends less energy doing that and reducing in velocity. And yet it worked. It worked brilliantly. And it's kind of like one of those things where everything I've learned and everything I've known for the last 55 years or whatever it is that I've been shooting a bow seems sort of slightly to have gone out the window, really. Anyway, it just shows the power of not just talking about it or reading about it, going and doing it. But before we go, don't forget that we have got a second YouTube channel. Todd Cutler does a bit more niche content and reviews of my weapons and stuff like that. We've got a website which is chock full of medieval goods, both budget stuff on Todd Cutler and higher end bespoke stuff on Todd's Workshop, all bundled into one site now. And then of course, Patreon. As you saw, we can rack up the bills on these things. It always helps. Anyway, if you can, please lend $1 for that. But see you again. The Mary Rose sank in July 1545. It was ready for war, it was armed for war. But when it gets to some of the more obscure things, like these incendiary darts, it's much harder to make out. I've worked with medieval fire arrows before. I'm continually amazed by how sophisticated they are. But this thing is massive. It's on a different scale.
Will this work from a fighting top?
I've made this from the best of the archaeological data we have.
Smell is often a good indicator.
That
Indian
smells
spices.
really good.
Get an idea of space when you're up there and looking at the
scale, and also frankly just because I've really liked it.
huge amount of fire, a huge amount of smoke.
So we think there are 2 principal ways that this munition could have been used. Thrown from the tops, the crow's nests, or shot from a cannon. This cannot, under any circumstances, land on your own ship. And that, I think, is something we need to test.
Right, 3, 2, 1.